What is going on, everybody? Today we are going to be breaking down my trade recap from the last 2 days. I'm going to go through the charts, going to hop over on TradingView. I'm going to break down the A to Z on what it was that I was looking for in price action, and we'll just go from there. I want to show you the trades I was taking, the setups I was looking at, but more importantly, I want to explain the rationale behind a lot of these setups. So what we're going to do is actually just make it so that we can actually look at what I'm talking about. Now we're on TradingView. Let's go ahead and move this. Probably move this camera out the way. Let's see where we're at. Yeah, right here. Let's go right here for today. Let's go right here. I think it's a good spot. All right, so what do we run into when we're looking at these charts? Well, ES was essentially the trade I took today. Looking at yesterday, I will discuss NQ. I was looking at NQ for Asia. Typically what you will find with my trading and a lot of the people that are in my Discord, again, free link for the Discord down below, we prefer NQ or micro NQ specifically when trading Asia. It just tends to move a little bit cleaner. The tendencies for Asia are a little bit better for NQ, but that's besides the point. What matters right now is the actual setup at hand. So hop over to NQ and you'll see very specifically we had an outline for today, right? The outline was posted in the Discord this morning. Was looking for a continuation higher. Simple as that. Looking for a continuation higher. But as far as yesterday went, I really did like this gap. So we get back, scroll through the charts, and we'll chop it up a little bit. Right? So we had this gap higher. This was a trade that required a lot of damn patience. A lot of patience. So let's make sure that my pen is working right here. Okay, we got my pen working. What you have here is pretty much a gap and go, right? It's a gap and go setup. Markets gap higher. You look for a continuation. I had a level at, I believe it was about 142, 148, something like that. We'll pull it up on the chart right here. So the level is essentially, yeah, right here. So that's the first one. And then there's an additional level slightly higher than that. We'll get into that in a second. But how did I approach this trade? Well, simply put, I tried a stab here, maybe one right here. And then I said, you know what? I'm done for a minute. I'm going to wait, stock it. So then I started waiting to see when would we actually start to confirm a reversal. Now, what would confirm a reversal to me was a break above this series of down candles. I was looking at this right here as it accumulated down here. And as soon as we broke above, that was my first piece up into there. I took about 7 micros into that area, caught a piece of the move. I think I trailed out the majority right there. Saw it start to pop higher. Took a trade right here, break even. Then I got my main trades essentially in this area. So main entry was right here up to 123. So from like 108 area to 123 with about 5 or 6 contracts. It pulled back, looked at it right here again, caught this piece right here. Boom. I had like half size or something like that at that point. And that was it. That was the bulk of my Asia trading. So the main idea was that I was essentially looking to engage price in really key spots. I like this gap up. And the reason that this gap up had my attention is because, simply put, when you gap up and you do not run out that high from essentially over here, it's a good indication that we're probably going to trade towards it. So with that in mind, I looked for the upside. There was another high right here. I essentially wanted to see that eventually get broken. So you have this is the 140 level that I was talking about. So I had levels to draw towards to the upside. Now coming into today's New York session, obviously we expanded overnight. That did not deter me from looking for the bullish upside bias. I put that in the Discord 100%. That was my bias for the day. Higher, 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 higher. What is it that I look for on a daily profile when I'm considering bias? Well, number one, if we expand through London, New York is likely to pull back to some extent. Doesn't have to reverse completely. I didn't think today would completely reverse. I was mindful of that. If you go ahead and watch the live stream, you'll see in the recording that I did note that that could happen. However, I was not actively engaged in looking for downside trades. I did not think that to be the most high probability use of my time. So with that being said, we'll hop over to ES and we'll break down the specific structures that I liked, the comparative analysis, making ES stronger for the session. That's why I leaned into that one. I'm always going to want to prioritize strength. So you see, we did come down. We swept out these lows. Great, great, great. That's a great trade. Hammer formation right here. Could have potentially been in. I was a little bit stubborn in waiting for news. I wanted to wait for the 9:45 news. Said, you know what? Let's really dial in the habits this week. Let's see what are the things that we could potentially do to be flawless in that regard. Like what habits can we put into place so that we can say, you know what? I followed every single rule that I came up with this week and just feel good about that. Disconnect from the P&L for a second, really focus on the process, and regardless of the outcome, I think that is a consistently important thing that you need to employ is that you decide your rules. I put it out earlier. I said, what's the point of trading if all you do is create more fucking work for yourself? You're going to listen to your boss, but you're not going to listen to you. These rules that you set, this is what's ultimately going to determine your ability to stay profitable for the long term. You got to think, there are so many different firms out there. They'll give you their rules, right? You go to a prop firm, they say, you know what? You have to pass this eval. You have to pass this combine. You have to do 6% in this amount of time, and you more or less have to follow that. What they don't do is give you rules that will actually benefit you. They give you rules that will act as a hurdle, as a somewhat as a benchmark for you to perform towards or against. But they don't give you rules that will ensure that you stay consistent. They don't say, hey, you know what, little trader, brand new trader, take one trade a day. They don't tell you to do that. They don't say, you know what, risk the minimum. They say, no, make $200, make $300, whatever. What if you, instead of worrying about an eval, because a lot of companies now they're doing straight to funded, believe it or not, if you know how to trade, you have a proven system. And how do you know if you have a proven system? You go watch my backtesting video. You'll see, I'll link it right here actually. You can go watch my backtesting video and you will see that's how you determine if your setup's going to win. If your strategy is particular and dialed enough to win, you'll have examples of it over and over and over. So with all that being said, these rules that they set for you are really just to keep you in that cycle of getting eval after eval after eval. So let's just say, yeah, you went straight to funded. With that, how would you perform? Well, you should probably have some sort of metric where you're trying to do the same things every day, meaning when do you trade? What times? What events do you avoid? How many entries are you going to take? How many exits or partials, or how are you going to structure your trading? These are the rules I want you to think about. These are what matter infinitely more than P&L. If you are always chasing profits, you're going to be left with empty pockets, period. There's no other way to put it. If you look at the markets and you think that there's always a trade for you, you're right and wrong. But the thing is, if you come into it with that expectation, you're more than likely going to leave with less than you came with. So when it comes to these setups, I want you to really understand, I caught a piece of this, kind of, right? So right here, this was my main idea. We stabbed lower. I called out this trade. I hesitated a little bit right here, and honestly, I didn't get this entry, which is fine. I let it pass. I was expecting a better pullback, like maybe a little bit earlier right here. That would have been nice. This right at news, I couldn't get it in. I was waiting for the news wick to kind of come into this little gap right here, and news didn't give it to me. It was like a couple points shy. So it's like I'm being particular. I'm saying this is the vision. If you do not meet my expectations, I'm not going to enter the trade. Why? Because it's a good habit. It is a good habit to be disciplined in my decision making, and I'm not going to let some flicker of a candlestick determine whether or not I take a trade. Dogs chase, traders enter trades. Traders are always supposed to be bound by the rules that they set for themselves. So no matter what someone else does, no matter what your best friend does, someone on Twitter, focus on your process. This is my trade review, but I really need you guys to focus on your process. When you're looking at these markets, there's always going to be a reason to try a trade, right? So didn't really get the position I wanted here. Looked at like a momentum entry on a 30-second or something in this area. Just couldn't get it. It was a couple points, maybe $10 or something. And then I looked at this trade, right? I saw this right here. I tried one entry here, trailed it for like 1.5 points. Not much to write home about. It's a pretty simple day. I made most of my money in Asia, so I'm content with that. But when it comes to this New York session, by far and large, this was the best trade. Outshined NQ all day. But it's only Monday, so just remember that, traders. We have a whole week ahead. Hope you got something out of this video. If you enjoy this type of content, please do me a favor. Leave a like, share with a friend, comment, subscribe, and until next time, I will catch you later. Take care.